All right, so this is going to be what I think that ending section for that Nuno Bettencourt solo sounds like. I can't guarantee this is the part. It's just what I heard when I learned it this morning. I already played it in the short, but I'll just play it again in case you haven't seen that. Basically sounds like this. Still not really playing it perfectly, but it's along those lines. So let's go over exactly what I think it is. Like I mentioned in the short, it's drop D, and we're basically playing a pattern that's just an open string and then two hammer-ons. But where you hammer on and what the open string is changes, and that's where you get the variety. So I'm just going to go through each part, and I'm going to describe it like this. I'm going to say 3 letters to correspond with each note of the 3-note grouping. So if I say D, 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 that means low D string, hammer on to the same string, hammer on to the same string. So this would be D, D, D. This would be A, 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 and this would be high D, 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 like that. But then I can also say A, A, D. So that would be A string, hammer on to the A string, and then hammer on to this low D string. I don't think you ever hammer on to a higher string. I'm pretty sure that's not happening. But anyway, the pattern, the first run of notes starts here, 7th fret, 12th fret. And then as the part moves, the pattern seems like it's just copied and pasted, but moved to different sets of notes. So the first set of notes, 7th fret, 12th fret, and this kind of corresponds to a chord, like D sus, which I'll talk about here in a second. So let's just go through what I think the exact parts are. So from the beginning, first hit, D, D, D. Next hit, A, A, D. I'll play that again. Right? D, 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 A, A, D. Okay? After that, 2 sets of A, A, A. Okay, so D, 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 A, A, D, A, 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 A. One more time. After that, we have D, A, A. This always throws me. So open D string, hammer on both notes on the A string. Okay, one more time. Right? After that, we have D, D, A, right? So that's kind of the first chunk, or how I hear it. The next chunk is actually pretty easy. So the first part, D, 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 A, A, D, A, 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 D, A, A, D, D, A, okay? Okay, after this, kind of a pattern, we have D, 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 high D string, D, D, A, then repeat on the A string, A, 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 low D, just like that. And then final 2 little notes, that's just open A string to low D pointer finger. Just those 2, that kind of locks it back to 4/4. So if I play the whole thing and then I'll walk through it. Okay, so I'll just walk through it real quick. So that's D, 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 A, A, D, A, 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 D, A, A, D, D, A, then the walk down, D, 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 A, 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 D, and then final A, D, like that. That's basically the pattern. So if you memorize, or at least what I think it is, if you memorize that, then all you have to do is just copy and paste it to each new set of notes, and that's basically the part. So the first one, like I said, is 7th fret, 12th fret. Then the next one is 7th fret, 10th fret, which implies a different chord. So I'll just play the exact pattern right here on this set of strings slow, and you can kind of hear it. One more time, a little faster. Right? Then the next set, so first set was 7/12, next set was 7/10. Next set is going to be the 5th fret, 9th fret, implying a different chord again, like G major 7. I'll play this one again, same pattern. A little faster. Still tricky. And then the final one, this one I'm not 100% sure on. So the notes are definitely here. So we're now 8th fret, 12th fret all the way down. So kind of similar to the first one, just instead of 7/12, 8/12. But this one I feel like some notes are slightly different. I can't tell because towards the end of this is where like an effect of some sort comes in. And I can't tell if the notes are like overtones from the effect or if he's actually playing different notes. So if I just play the literal pattern right here, it would sound like this. That's the exact pattern that we've been doing, but I kind of think it's this. So pattern moves all the way until you start the return come back down. So normal pattern, D, 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 A, A, D, A, 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 D, A, A, D, D, A. Then right here, we play D, 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 but instead of playing D, D, A and walk down, it sounds like it's playing the G string right there. So D, 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 G, D, A. So that's the open G string, hammer on D string, hammer on A string. It kind of sounds like that just for a moment. Then it's A, A, A like normal, and it's A, A, D, but I kind of hear this note. So again, I'm not sure if that's actually happening, but I do hear it. That would be this. And then the normal 2 notes to end it, and then you restart the whole thing, which makes sense. This is kind of the leading tone into D, kind of restarting the whole thing. So that note does make sense. Again, I'm not 100% sure because that's when the effect comes in. So it's either the normal pattern or something like that is happening. So I'll play that one more time. I already messed it up one more time. Yeah, it's tricky. One more time. Yeah, that sneaking that G string in there is tough because it breaks the pattern that you've been doing for the entire tune, especially with the right hand. So that's basically it. The only thing that was throwing me really, well, I think one thing that's really important when you're doing this, I'm kind of not achieving it as much as I would like right now, but that's having the pick attack be even attack to the hammer-ons. Or really, I should say the hammer-ons need to be even attack to the pick. Because right now, when you hear me do this, the pick is probably a heavier attack than my hammer-ons. Maybe my hammer-ons just suck, or maybe my strings are too old, or maybe I don't have the right tone. But if you listen to the recording, every note sounds like it's picked, but I highly doubt it is. I'm pretty sure it's pick, hammer, hammer. But with the right amount of distortion, right amount of really slamming your fingers down, you can make it sound like it's all picked. And you can achieve that by really hammering on or having the right tone, or having a softer pick attack, actually. Right, so that's something you can mess around with. The other thing that I am still on the fence about is I'm still pretty confident about what this is, but I remember when I first learned it, I was doing stuff like this, like instead of this, like that, I was going. So that fourth note basically in the recording sounds like this. It sounds like that octave A, but the pattern would dictate that it's the open A string. And so when I was learning that, my fingering, I was kind of doing like a bunch of wild things, and I'm like, I don't really know about this. So I just skipped the first one and went right to the second one, and the second one, the pattern is super clear, super obvious. Like you can definitely hear all those notes with all the open strings. So then I kind of went back and looked at the first part and thought, oh, instead of the open string, I'm kind of hearing like A, for example, I'm kind of hearing the octave up. So I thought maybe there's some like overtone that's happening with his tone that's giving me an octave up sound, or maybe even like the harmonic is being played right there. So instead of, it's like that, I think that might be happening because I only hear it when the higher note of the pattern is on the 12th fret. I don't really hear that kind of stuff when it's down here, when the higher notes don't have a harmonic to play. But up here, I definitely hear that octave up, which could be an overtone or it could be a harmonic instead of playing the open string. So that stuff is happening as well. You just have to look out for that. That's basically the part. Obviously I'm playing it pretty slow. Like the recording is something like 170 or something like that. So I'm comfortable doing it here. But I think it's like, it's really quick. I'm definitely not there yet. So yeah, just got to work the tempo. The progression that's happening, kind of the implied chord progression. First one right here on the 7th and 12th frets. That's kind of like D suspended that you're kind of getting. Then these next set, 7th fret, 10th fret, is basically with the D in the bass. It kind of reminds me of like a D suspended, what I call a super sus. So that would be D with like a root 4th, flat 7 second. You can also think about it like A minor 7 with D in the bass, which is a very similar chord, more or less the same thing. Then the next one down here, 5th fret, 9th fret, all that feels like G major 7. And then the last one up here feels like either B flat major 7 like this, or kind of like a G minor sort of flavor, because they do play that open G string in there that kind of, to me, sounds like G minor. The super normal, like generic version of this progression is actually very common. It's really just like 1 D major, turn into a dominant 7th, or a suspended that's like a 5 of 4, then a 4 chord, and then really a minor 4 chord. We've all heard that progression before. That's really what the part is. It's just being implied in a totally different way, but that's more or less what it is. So yeah, that's the thing. You just have to get these notes down, get the technique down. It's a tough one to get. Make sure the attacks are all kind of uniform. You can pretty much play it. So let me know if you have any questions.